Welcome inside Fuller Field. The Falmouth Commodores hosting the Cotuit Kettleers in just a minute. Here in a West Division matchup between the two hottest teams on the Cape. I'm Zach Sinek, alongside Matt Venezia. We're glad you guys joined us tonight. We're excited to get this one going. Should be a really good matchup between these two teams that have been playing really well.
You said it best, Zach. These teams are as hot as they come. No one playing better baseball. Both teams have won 10 of 12. This is going to be a really good game, and you got to look and see the different players that have stood out for Falmouth. John yesterday, 3 hits in the effort, 2 RBIs in that win against Bourne. He's at the top of the order once again tonight.
And on the other side, for Cotuit, a guy that really stood out yesterday in their blowout win was Cole Mathis. He's been outstanding towards the top of the league in home runs as well as all these other stat categories.
Well, you said it, partner. He went off yesterday, as did every Kettleer in the lineup. He was 3 for 5 with a home run and 6 driven in an 18-0 win for the Kettleers at Lowell Park against Wareham. Every Kettleer in the lineup yesterday that got a chance to hit had a hit. I mean, the whole team is on fire. It's going to be a tough matchup for Falmouth, no doubt.
Well, with more on the matchup, we're going to send it down to the third member of our team, Destiny Sanchez.
Thanks, guys. The Doors are about to face the Kettleers, who are in the top of the West Division, but with the Commodores' 5-game win streak, they match right up to the Kettleers, who have a 6-game win streak right now. The Kettleers' last loss was against the Commodores, and the Commodores' last loss was against Cotuit. So there's no doubt that these two teams are the hottest teams on the Cape right now, and despite the standings, this will be a very competitive game and may shake up the West. Back up to you guys.
Thanks, Destiny. Those standings getting a little tighter with Falmouth moving towards the top part of it, but got a big matchup tonight, and it'll start against this lineup for Cotuit that was red hot, as we mentioned yesterday.
Yeah, Trey Hunger getting in here relatively recently. A couple of College of Charleston additions into the lineup for the Kettleers since the last time we saw them, with manager Mike Roberts trying to shift things up a little bit. But Caleb Lomavita, he was a big name yesterday as well. This entire lineup's tough, and the Commodores saw them not too long ago in that back-to-back of July 4th. They got moved to July 6th and then the July 5th game. So there's a lot of familiarity. There's no doubt these two teams are probably the two most arch rivals between. You know, they don't really have any others that stand out the way that Falmouth and Cotuit do. But I'm excited. Redshirt Friday here. It's going to be a great opportunity for Falmouth to try and extend that win streak to a season-high 6 games.
And a guy who's trying to get himself back going after a couple of weeks off with some rainouts and some move things. Braden Davis was really good the last 2 outings he's had.
Yeah, it's been a little while since we've seen Braden, but of the starting pitchers, he leads Falmouth in the strikeout category. Braden Davis has been locked in for this group. You remember that first outing, he had really strong effort against Chatham on the road, overshadowed by, of course, that perfect game bid that went into the 7th inning. But nonetheless, each of the last 3 outings that he's had at least 5 strikeouts picked up. Only given up a total of 7 hits on the Cape so far this summer through 11 1/3. I'm really, really impressed with him. I think he's probably one of the best pitchers on this staff. And anytime you have this lefty on the mound out of Oklahoma State, you like your chances early on in the ball game for him to provide long innings of not a lot of runs given up.
And you also get a look at the defense behind him. Spikerman manning it out in center field with Humphreys and Tracy out in the outfield. And then that infield pretty similar to normal, Matt.
Yeah, there's not a lot of changes there in the infield. It's only the outfield, whether we see Gavin Turley in there sometimes, whether it be Tab Tracy moving to left or right. Nate Humphreys is versatile, but it's typically always John Spikerman straight away. And the backstops, as we talked about. Yannick didn't play yesterday, got the day off after his best game of the summer, where he drove in 4 runs on 3 hits, including a home run against Brewster the last time we were here at the Gov. I'm excited to see his bat back in the lineup. And again, 1 through 9 for both sides is as loaded as it gets.
Well, it's going to start with Trey Younger. Outfielder. It's headed to Georgia Tech next season. He was at Wofford the last couple of years trying to get himself going. Braden Davis working from the windup and gets us started with a fastball for a called strike at 6:04 p.m. from Fuller Field. A day that's had a lot of rain has turned into a beautiful night at this point as we get underway.
Yeah, Zach, the thunderstorms this morning woke me up before my alarm I had set. It was pretty ugly here, and especially this part of the Cape. You already saw YD's game get canceled because of the rain that they experienced over there in Yarmouth Dennis, but nonetheless, we're happy to be playing baseball. Really clear, sunny day here.
0-2 misses upstairs to Younger. Davis trying to start well, and he does just that. Picks up a punch out to start off his outing. You mentioned leading this team in the strikeout department among starters, and he shows why.
I mean, no doubt. All the numbers he had as a Cowboy out in Stillwater this year certainly backed that up. 51 Ks at school. That was good for 5th on the team. His ERA was sub-3. He's found himself into a groove here now as a full-time starter for the Doors.
Puts a fastball past Cole Mathis, who had that monster game yesterday. Quickly 0-2 on him.
It looks like he's got a good feel for that changeup right now. That was the pitch he went to the wave and a miss there on Younger. Really, really good pitch.
0-2. Fastball upstairs once again. Back-to-back 0-2 counts have moved to 1-2 to start off the ball game. For the Sam Houston State Bearcat, he's got the Bearcat battery with Walker Yannick behind the plate. 1-2, swing and a miss. Just like that. 2 batters, 8 pitches, 2 punch-outs.
Pretty identical to what we saw in that first at-bat. Again, goes with that pitch that changes up the speed, complements his low 90s fastball really, really well. And on the outer third there, it's tough for the right-handed hitters when it runs away on the arm side of the southpaw on the mound. It's tough to stay with that pitch when it's running off the plate.
And for the third straight hitter, starts him with a strike. 0-1 to Caleb Loma Vida. And now it's 0-2.
I mean, he's working quickly. And when you're ahead, you're in control. You're in cruise mode there on the mound. We'll see if he goes back to that changeup here in 3 consecutive 0-2s.
Gets a swing and a miss on the fastball upstairs. Braden Davis strikes out the side in the top of the first. Falmouth offense trying to keep rolling on the other side of the break. Isaac Martinez taking the mound for Cotuit to face this lineup for the Falmouth Commodores.
Yeah, the Doors are hot right now. Everyone's hitting real well for the Doors right now. Again, we talked about John Spikerman's outing yesterday, and he's just been real good there out of Oklahoma. Again, 2-3-4 is as stout as it gets. Travis Bazana and Kyle DeBarge make a really good top half of this order. Rounded up by Tyler McGregor. He's cooled off just a little bit, Zach, but has started every single game he's been here since arriving on June 28th against Orleans. Obviously, the backstop's been flipping interchangeably, and my goodness, Cade Snell, he's hitting 360 now. The designated hitter of late for Falmouth has just been dialed in.
And they'll face Isaac Martinez out of University of California, San Diego, and the Triton was outstanding this year. Big West first team, 6-1 record with 9 saves, and he's kept that going onto the Cape so far with a 2-0 record.
Yeah, I was just going to say, he looks real, real good. The Doors have already seen him. It was in a limited stint. It was at the very end of the ball game in the 3-2 win. Last Falmouth loss over at Lowell Park, an inning there at the end. Gave up the home run to Tyler McGregor there in the 9th. But other than that, he settled in real nice. I believe this is his first start this summer as well. A lot of the opportunities he's had have been in relief, and now he gets his chance here to make a good opportunity with it.
He has seen a couple of these guys, as you mentioned, in the Commodores lineup, and they're going to greet him off right in just a minute. But first, let's take a look at the defense behind him. Teal Banks, Trey Younger, and James McCoy out in that outfield. And then the infield looks a lot different than the last time we saw this team.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the shortstop at Penn State was over there at short. But my big guy is Emilian Petre. I mean, my goodness, that play he made on the infield to nab Nate Humphreys at home the last time we saw these guys at Lowell Park. I mean, the defensive effort that this infield has is so stout, and you got to be real careful because a lot of the speed the Doors have in this lineup are going to want to test some of these arms that are going to have to make plays in on the grass. So it's going to be tough. This is going to be a really good game. I think a lot of people have this game circled on the calendar today on this Friday, July the 14th, and it's exciting to see these two heavyweights go at it.
John Spikerman steps in, switch hitter, batting from that right side. Starts it off with a called strike at 87 on the outing for Martinez. Big control guy. Fastball, slider, changeup, and a curveball. 2 fastballs, 2 strikes to start Spikerman.
I mean, you can't really get too comfortable just yet. The pitchers are just coming right at you. 0-2 again. Both sides really bringing it to start against these hitters.
Spikerman takes just a touch outside on the fastball. Continues something we talked a lot about yesterday, Matt, with these hitters being so locked in, those close takes, and they really haven't gotten rung up on strikes much. Spikerman skies one out to left. The wind blows it a little bit, but Banks has a beat on it for out number 1.
Nice got underneath that hanging changeup there. Only comes in at 81. You got to be careful. It doesn't come in all that hot, and guys deeper in this order will make you pay. And even John, for that matter, had the home run the other day against Wareham. A lot of pop in his bat. But nonetheless, as you talked about the hitters being so dialed in, John Butka started moving backwards there behind the plate. I thought he was about to ring him up for a looking strikeout, but that just goes to show they're locked in.
Bazana sends it out to deep center. Younger still going back, and he'll make the catch running into the wall. That just kept on carrying, and if that's anywhere but dead center, Bazana's got himself extra bases.
Well, Zach, I was just going to say, they tell you when you're growing up playing this game to not backpedal until you're really underneath the baseball. And right off the jump, your first step is back. And Younger there, it looked like he was camping under, and I'm sure he probably thought he was too. But again, you got to keep moving back because the wind's taking the ball out straight away.
Kyle DeBarge takes a strike, first pitch changeup. Start off the Louisiana Raging Cajun. Tyler McGregor looming on deck for the Doors, trying to get him a chance in this first inning.
Yeah, I liked the game yesterday that DeBarge had. Really stout there at third base. Had a pair of hits, drove in a run in part of that big second inning for Falmouth on the road at Doran Park. Part of 4 runs that the Doors scored, and that really kind of paced the offense the rest of the way.
That was just moving the train along. Single after single after single in that inning. 2-1 is popped up. We had a fly out to left, fly out to center, and now a pop out to the second baseman in shallow right. Pitre had some trouble with it, but it finds his glove all the same. We're scoreless through 1 at Gov Fuller Field. Head to the second on the Commodores Baseball Network. Isaac Martinez matched the first inning from Braden Davis in terms of 1-2-3, but Davis struck out the side in the top of the first. Now he'll get to face 4, 5, 6 in the order for Cotuit.
Yeah, again, we know this lineup's loaded. 18 runs yesterday against the Wareham Gatemen, who have been struggling of late. The Doors dealt them an ugly number the other day over there at Spillane Field.
First pitch popped back out of play.
That's been the knock on the Gatemen that we've seen. Again, the offense has just been so good. We saw the Doors put up a big number.
Popped up right side. McGregor spinning for it and wasn't going to be able to get to it. You could kind of tell with the route that it was going to be a really tough play. The wind is swirling and circling up in the air. The higher it goes, it's tougher to find.
Well, McGregor's route there, because of the wind, would have kept you safe from an alligator. They tell you to run in zigzags to be away from those guys. And my goodness, if that's just what the wind's doing out here, it's going to be a tough day defensively.
Not when you've got a man like Braden Davis, though. He's not giving the defense a chance. That's his 4th strikeout through the first 4 hitters.
Again, it's just pulling the string on that changeup. It looks really, really good right now for Davis. Again, he doesn't throw the hardest stuff in the world. It's low 90s. But again, when you complement it with a really good secondary pitch, sometimes you don't even have to go to a breaking ball or a slider, whatever it may be.
Ground ball to Bazana at second for out number 2. He's retired the first 5. something you don't hear often. Going back to his last start, he struck out the side in the first inning in that game as well. This time, one-upping himself and punching out the first 4 before now getting the first ball put in play by Petre.
Yeah, I don't doubt it because he works so quickly. He's already up there ready to go after each pitch.
Pop up, out to right field. Tracy called off by Spikerman. A 5-pitch inning for Braden Davis, and the Doors bats coming right back up on the other side of the break. This is your home for Falmouth Commodores baseball.
Welcome back to Falmouth Commodores Baseball. A little message from Cape Cod Healthcare. Cape Cod isn't just any community, it's our community. At Cape Cod Healthcare, providing exceptional, high-quality care for our neighbors and visitors is at the core of everything we do. From wellness initiatives and preventative screenings to leading-edge technology and specialized clinical expertise, our dedicated team is committed to delivering care that enhances the well-being of all in this special region. Cape Cod Healthcare congratulates the Cape Cod Baseball League on its 100th year anniversary and is proud to be this year's official healthcare sponsor. Learn more at capecodhealth.org. Cape Cod Healthcare, caring, commitment, community. Back up to you guys.
Thank you, Destiny. It's been a pitcher's duel early and a quick one, Matt. To this point, 6 up, 6 down from Braden Davis, 3 up, 3 down so far from Isaac Martinez, who's trying to keep it going.
Yeah, and to the credit of the Doors offensively, I mean, they've worked a couple of at-bats. It was a 1-2 count with Spike flying out, and then Kyle DeBarge was in a hitter's count and just got under one to Emilian Petre. But efficiency is what you want. This is that to the T, and that works because Braden Davis gets back in the dugout. He gets his offense a chance to get their feet under themselves. Every time he's out there, you know you've got a shot, and you don't need too many runs, especially with the way these two teams have been pitching of late. Not to mention these are some of the 2 best offenses in the Cape League as well, albeit that's why both have won 10 of their last 12 and have the 2 longest active winning streaks here on the Cape.
These 2 guys very familiar with each other. McGregor comes up empty on that breaking ball, a couple of them, because Martinez threw a fastball to McGregor at Lowell Park, and that ball might still be stuck in a tree.
That's true. That was gave the Doors a chance there at the end. The following 2 batters would find a way to reach, so Falmouth was down 3-1 in a game that, again, you had such a good effort from Rio Britton in that start. Tough loss nonetheless, but then the Doors came back a couple of days later and had that 12-2 win.
Or a day earlier, officially.
It depends on how you want to look at it. We were joking about which team really has the 5-game win streak versus the 6 because of depending on how you want to look at it. Technically speaking, it is Cotuit with the longest active streak.
Soft ground ball off of Martinez. He'll settle himself and retire McGregor. Shot it right back up the middle, but didn't get a good barrel on it. And Martinez walks that one off as he retires the Falmouth cleanup hitter.
Yeah, that's tough because it's a 3-1 count. You're obviously swinging for something that you like in a hitter's count, and you don't get all of it, and you send it right back to the pitcher for what's otherwise there. I mean, a hit off of Martinez, good recovery, but a pretty routine 1-3 there. And just getting on top of that one for the first out.
Walker Yannick ropes it to left, but Banks is there. And 2 quick outs for Martinez.
I'm not going to say anything, Zach, but I mean, this game, the way both teams are so locked in that at least to the credit of the last 2 hitters of Cotuit and Emilian Petre and T.O. Banks, if you see a pitch you like, I don't care if it's the first one or if it's a 3-2 count, you should swing at it because if it's something you like and you're dialed in, that makes the most sense. But this game is just guys are seeing what they like and they're putting it in play, and sometimes that's just how it goes.
Cade Snell steps up. He hit a missile in his last at-bat yesterday, 104 miles an hour off the bat, according to TrackMan. And We thought it was gone originally, but they came in late and ruled it a ground rule double.
Yeah, he was laughing with the field umpire there at second base. He thought he was going to get credit for that home run.
I talked to him earlier today. He still thinks that that ball went over. It's so tough to tell at a place like Bourne with no windscreen on the fence out there. It's really tough to tell whether it went over or whether it bounced over. Tried to hit that high changeup. We've seen that a few times from Martinez. It's effective when it's used well, but if somebody's ready for it, a high changeup can go a long way, especially when it catches as much plate as that one did.
No, absolutely. That one settles just above middle. So when it's coming in, it looks like a balloon ball. When you just got if you're ready on it, you'll put it over the fence and right, no doubt.
Hasn't gotten hurt with it yet, though. Count does run full to Cade Snell. Snell continuing to fight and stay alive.
This is really the first back and forth opportunity we've seen, and to no surprise, it's by one of the most locked-in hitters in the order for Falmouth and Cade Snell, just trying to fight off some pitches here, see what he gets on this full count.
Payoff is outside. He works himself a walk. Snell continues to see the baseball well, and the Doors with the first base runner from either side with 2 away in the bottom of the second.
That's real impressive. Fell behind in the count, 0-1. Just looking at it there at that first pitch, but to fight off some pitches and to leave that one there off the outer third, you present a chance for the next guy up, and you got to do that against an arm that's been really, really good to this point in the summer in Isaac Martinez.
Here's Gavin Keelan. 294 average entering the night. He's been a doubles machine this year, including a game against Chatham where he had 3 of them. That was back towards the start of this streak for the Doors. Pops one foul down that left field line. That's where he placed a couple of those doubles in that stretch. Was just fair down that line.
Yeah, and even yesterday, too, had a sharp ground ball just inside the third base bag for a very long single. That's what they tell you. When you put the ball the other way, using the big part of the field, that's where a lot of your hits come down.
Martinez battling back after falling behind 1-0. He's ahead now 1-2.
But Keelan's been really, really impressive to this point, Zach. I mean, you talked about what he's done up to this point with the extra base hits. Haven't seen the home run just yet, but didn't hit a whole lot of them at school. Keeps the ball in play and gets on to second pretty consistently.
Lays off the breaking ball in the dirt. Evens it up 2-2.
It's a good leave down there. Showing us his breaking pitch there a little bit. Looked to be the slider. It's a good leave down there. Good tempting pitch.
And just like that, Keelan finds himself in a full count. Snell will be on the move over at first. This would be a good time for a ball hit in the gap with the runner heading out on the release. Might find yourself a run if you hit one in the gap. The 3-2. Strike 3 called. Keelan rung up on the outside corner. And Martinez works around the 2-out walk to set down the Doors with another goose egg. We head to the third, scoreless from Gov Fuller Field.
Hey, Commodore fans! The Falmouth Commodores are celebrating 100 years in the Cape Cod Baseball League, and you're invited to the party. Join us at Gov Fuller Field on July 15th for a free afternoon of live music, local food trucks, games, and player autographs. The fun starts at 3 p.m. and goes until 5:30. Join me and Homer in Falmouth on July 15th for an afternoon of fun, games, music, and Cape Cod baseball, all for free.
It's turned into a nice evening for some Cape League baseball at Gov Fuller Field. 74 degrees, and the wind making it feel a little chillier than that. It's been feeling like a comfortable 70 all day, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, it's been good. Again, I talked about it earlier when I was doing my prep at home. I was hearing the raindrops and the thunderstorms and all that. But again, you mentioned it. Just a beautiful day here for baseball. Would think only just the grass is probably could be a slight issue in terms of it still being pretty slick out there. But so far on some of these pop-ups that just keep moving back and the outfielders have had to kind of run around a little bit, hasn't been an issue just yet. And it's good that we're playing some baseball here because, again, the fog cancellation in Chatham and then against Brewster the other day here, we couldn't play baseball and had to move it to what was supposed to be an off day on Wednesday. The Doors are in the midst of now Game 4 of 11 straight.
And they're playing well in that stretch so far, trying to keep it going today against the top team in the Cape League. Davis misses with that first pitch. First time he's fallen behind a hitter today, and it is to James McCoy. Switch hitter out of Kentucky. Swings right through it. It's 1-1.
Good change of speed there on that changeup. Sometimes you see a lot of guys go to the fastball to get back into a count. And I think he's got the confidence to go to any of his pitches, really. And to get a wave and a miss like that so confidently just shows what kind of a groove you're in on the mound.
He's gotten a lot of swings and misses. Already 4 swinging strikeouts. Through 2 innings, gets a pop-up on the infield. Yannick calls off McGregor for out number 1.
Well, we got our open window here in the press box. You could hear it pretty loudly. The general of the infield is the backstop. And Walker Yannick there, you know, when you have McGregor running in there in foul territory, as is Yannick, they're running at each other. So it's very important to have that communication, and someone's got to take charge. If you're the general in Yannick, you're hoping that he stays back, and that's exactly what happened there. Good communication to get that first out.
Here's Trotter Harlan. Out of College of Charleston. Second team All-CAA each of the last 2 years. Hit that one very high, but pulled it foul. He finished the season at College of Charleston with a 29-game on-base streak for the Cougars.
En route to him having a team-high 10 home runs, 51 RBIs. Really, really good year for him. Out of the CAA, you mentioned his all-conference second-team selection. Was used yesterday as just getting here early on. Again, a lot of these new guys coming in for the first time. And this is our first chance to see him.
And he's got himself a 2-2 count against Braden Davis. Breaking ball right into a shifted Travis Bazana for out number 2.
Well, that was the only solid piece we've seen so far. Looked to be the slider there coming back into the zone. They're trying to get the back door, which is a really, really good pitch selection there. I don't think Davis meant for it to get a whole lot of plate there. It got the bottom right corner, according to StatCast up here in our TrackMan setup. Nice solid piece, but that's why you shift the infield for results like that. Hard ground ball that's probably a base hit 9 out of 10 times when you don't have the shift like that.
You've also got a really good defensive second baseman in Bazana standing over there who ate it right up. While we were talking, no surprise, Braden Davis back up 0-2.
I mean, you talk about just controlling your mound. That's what Braden Davis has been all day.
Johnson pulled that one foul. Sounded like he might have snapped his bat.
Yeah, and he's going to go get a new one.
Yeah, it looks like he did.
That's I looked at Gabe here, our scorer, and Brendan, our PA, are just pointing to my ear there. That did not sound like it's supposed to.
Yeah, no, not at all. You know, we said it's a nice night, but it might be a little wet for a campfire. But Braden Davis trying to find some firewood anyways.
There you go. Nice to get that little saying in there. A go-to in terms of some split lumber there. Some guys take a second, too, to get rosin adjusted and maybe feel it out a little bit. But he's stepping right back in the box.
Yeah, you don't want to have it fly out of your hands like Gavin Turley did a couple of times at Spillane earlier this week. 0-2, Davis hits the deck. Sent that one in and bounced it to Yannick, who comes up nodding. Not sure exactly what that pitch was from Davis, whether it was a breaking ball or whether it was just a fastball that he didn't get a great spot of because he fell down. But either way, he's still way ahead. It's 1-2. Slider just missed the outside corner. Even things up. It's the first time Dylan Johnson's been in the lineup against the Doors. And he gets another punch out. Braden Davis, 5 strikeouts, 9 up, 9 down through 3 from Falmouth.
Do your kids have big league dreams? Do they want to learn from the stars of tomorrow? Then check out the Falmouth Commodores Summer Baseball Clinics, where kids from the ages of 5 to 14 can hone their skills in pitching, hitting, fielding, and catching with help from the best college players in the nation. The clinics run from June to late July, and the 6 four-day sessions are divided by age group and experience level. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Give your kids a summer of baseball and a lifetime of memories.
Go Doors!
Nate Humphreys leads it off in the bottom of the third. Falmouth looking for some success against Isaac Martinez. Got the base runner with 2 outs in the second on the walk. That's it that either side has seen on the base paths in the early going. These two really control crafty lefties are in complete control of this game so far.
Yeah, and I mean, that's just good baseball. I mean, to be able to have 2 arms carve through lineups like these, given the offensive numbers that they put up over the last several days, it's pretty impressive. And I think we talked about this earlier. We were both kind of anticipating a game of lower scoring baseball between these two sides. I mean, something's got to give, but I don't know if I was expecting the dominance we've seen so far from the lefties.
A lot of hiking towards the dugout, leans in, and he couldn't hang on to it.
Had a good play on it. Lost his hat in the process, but got to be careful over there when you're going over the rail. The door's there in the dugout. Pretty happy that one came up empty-handed, but it looked like he got the web of his glove on it, Zach. I mean, good effort nonetheless for a interesting second strike for Nate Humphreys.
There have been a lot of those fly balls from the doors, in large part because Isaac Martinez is continuing to work the top of the zone with both the fastball and the changeup. There works low and outside with that changeup, though, and yet another full count. This is the third straight.
I was just going to say, there's been a lot of those, and it's because the guys behind in the order here have seen a lot of pitches from Martinez.
And this 3-2 count goes the way of Martinez. Humphreys is retired for out number 1.
I just got on top of a changeup there, and that offering. When you see the full counts worked here at the bottom of the order, it's because the guys are being learners in the dugout. They're looking to see what pitches and counts he's going to in certain spots so that when you get up, you've seen a lot of what he likes to go to in very different situations. First pitch swings from Bazana, for example, or a 1-2 put out from John Spikerman. You're able to be a learner when you see that.
Tab Tracy sends one right back to Petre. The speed from Tracy made it closer than it could have been, but it's still out number 2.
And just rolls one right back to second. I mean, nothing wrong, again, with swinging at the first pitch, but sometimes the stuff of the pitcher is real, real good. That's the slider there that just gets rolled on. Got a lot of plate. That's middle, Zach, and sometimes Tab will make you pay there with a sharp base hit up the middle. Wasn't able to quite get that one there. A couple of ground balls to Petre, and we have 2 outs already.
Spikerman started with a changeup at the knees, and it's 0-1. Runs in on the slide piece to even it up. Second time through the order, starting off with Spikerman. Davis will face his start of the second time through the order on the other side of the break. And it's 2-1. Martinez trying to continue his control of this ball game on the mound, but he falls behind 3-1.
Just working him a little bit differently than he did Spikerman to lead off the ball game. A couple of fastballs there, not able to find the zone.
Spikerman thought about trying to take a swing at that changeup, but the count runs full again. Strike 3 called. Spikerman goes down looking, and the side is retired in the third. We're scoreless here at Gov Fuller Field, but that's not the only game going on around the Cape. We're going to send it down to the field with Destiny Sanchez, who has your scores around the Cape League.
Thanks, guys. A few scores around the Cape. The Brewster Whitecaps and the Waddy Red Sox has been postponed to July 18th. The Wareham Gatemen and the Harwich Mariners are scoreless in the top of the first. The Bourne Braves and the Orleans Firebirds are also scoreless in the top of the first. And the Chatham Anglers and the Hyannis Harbor Hawks will play at 7 p.m. You've been watching Falmouth Commodores baseball. We'll catch you on the other side of the break.
Welcome back inside the broadcast booth here at Gov Fuller Field. We're joined by a special guest, yesterday's starting pitcher for the Commodores, Jacob Smith.
What's going on, guys? How are y'all doing?
Good, man. Thanks for taking the time joining us up here. It's been a lot of fun to have you out there the last couple of times. You got to see these guys in your first outing. It's a tough order to go through, but you had some success with it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Every pitch was a battle with this team. If you clock out for a second, they are gonna make you pay for it every time. I mean, y'all seen it in I think it might have been the first pitch of the game, first fastball. He hit me over there to them trees. So you really got to be locked in and focused on every pitch and make sure you make it count.
Now, Jacob, it seems like every start we've seen you so far, it's been progressively a lot better. I mean, yesterday it looked like your best stuff with the 7 strikeouts. You have a season high in that category. What's allowed you in the limited amount of appearances you've had here to get pretty settled here on the Cape?
Really, it's just it's preparation. That's really what it boils down to, is just making sure I'm focused day in, day out, really take advantage of all the free time that I have on the field. And that's really it. After that, you really kind of got to put it in God's hands and just let it work.
So, speaking of letting it work right now, Braden Davis out there today has just been outstanding.
Oh, my goodness. He is putting on a clinic right now. He's putting on a clinic right now.
See if DeBarge can run this one down.
Oh!
He caught it, and they're going to say he was out of play. And that's the thing you don't see in a lot of places, but you see it up in the Cape League. There's not a fence there, and so he just got past that netting.
I feel like that should be ruled a catch. That should definitely be a catch.
He had to dodge the fans over there, too.
Yeah, like we should get a run for that also. I mean, come on. We need
Add it to the scoreboard.
Yeah, that's a difficult catch.
Or banana ball where the fans can make a play out there and it counts as an out.
I feel like that's a pitcher's type rule.
Hey, I'm with it. I will support it.
This is the first 3-2 count we've seen from Braden Davis. He's been so efficient, struck out the side in the first, 5-pitch inning with a strikeout in the second. 3-2 outside.
It was competitive.
Yeah, just a touch off the plate.
Now, Jacob, my question for you, we've seen Braden so far go to anywhere between 2 to 3 pitches between his fastball, his changeup for a lot of swing and misses, and what looks to be a slider. From what I hear, you throw anywhere between 5 to 7 pitches. Is that accurate? How do you know which one you want to use in a given game? Because for the catchers, that's a lot of different signs to memorize.
So the way I manage that is I will, one, talk to my catcher, and we'll kind of look at the scouting report, and we'll have about four pitches that we're going to use a lot that game, or in that inning per se. And if I see something with the swing or something like that, there's certain signals that I'll give when I'm on the mound, whether it's a certain type of head shake, a little shoulder movement, that signals that I want to throw a certain pitch. So that kind of helps speed up the game rather than sitting there shaking everything off and then pitch clock goes off and then yeah, they get a ball. So
Well, there's not a clock in a lot of these stadiums, right?
It's not. I wish there was. That would help a lot. Just know that you can see the clock going down and that you need to start. But I got called on it a couple times. I think my first start, I took over 20 seconds. So yes, the clock would be very useful.
Yeah. So yesterday, Bourne gets a run in that first inning and go back to the dugout. Offense puts up 4. How is it coming back to the mound right after that? You feeling a lot better?
Oh, you just feel free out there. It's a lot easier to pitch when you know you got an offense that is going to put up runs for you.
And they have definitely done that as of late.
Oh my gosh, the Commodores are hot. Let me tell you, we are hot. We're dangerous.
And that has been a lot of fun to watch up here. There's been a lot of really good games going on, and Davis having to work from the stretch a little bit. Smart play there by Martin. Doesn't get the double play, but switches up the runners there.
Yeah, that was. I see what Travis was trying to do there, trying to let the ball kind of get a little deep, hold him up at second. I mean, the runner up at first, so he could try to turn that double play. That was nice.
And that's what you get when you get a veteran like Travis Bazzana out there who's so good. I mean, there's a reason he's been all-defensive team the last 2 years in the Pac-12. He can really play it.
This is one thing I have to say about Travis is he does everything right when it comes to nutrition, working out, focus in the game, and the most intriguing thing about him is his competitive drive. He's competitive in anything and everything, whether we're playing bullpen games or on the field. Like, he's just always so locked in and wants to win.
What's the go-to bullpen game?
We've been playing a game called Contact, and it's where one person comes up with the word, and they the person who came up with the word gives you the letter to the word, and the other 3 people have to come up with a word that they both know without saying it, and follow the password that he gives. So the password would be the letter that he gives, and you're just trying to guess it. Yeah, it's really confusing to explain. It'll take a couple times. Oh, no.
Going down in the outfield. Humphreys comes up throwing at second. Bazzana couldn't get the tag in, and a run comes across for Cotuit, a single and then an error that allows those runners to move up. Talked about the rain earlier. It's wet out there. It's slick.
Yeah, that's tough. Right now, Nate Humphreys is looking down at his leg, wondering why he blew a tire, but it's slick. I mean, you're trying to play some baseball games in here with the weather, and that's tough. I mean, even for you, Jacob, on the mound, they have the tarp obviously over the mound in the home plate area to protect, what's otherwise the most important part of the field per se. But what are the conditions like? What are you having to do in a game like today where there's a lot of rain earlier on? Are you having to kind of clean off your cleats a little bit?
Oh, yeah. You definitely need some. We have a little spike in the dugout that we use to clean the dirt off our cleats, so that way we can get good traction into the mound. But really, there's not much you can do when on a day like this. You just kind of got to gut through it and find a way to make something happen.
Davis trying to limit the damage out there. How much is that something that you're really thinking about on the mound when you give up a run like that, especially in a spot where it was a pass ball and then an error? How are you kind of going about trying to settle down the inning?
You can only can control what you can control. You have to just understand that the 7 players behind you are trying their best and giving everything they got. So you really can't think about it too much because they're going to try to make any play they can for you. And your job is just to keep on giving them plays to make. And if you can stay in that mindset, it's not hard to really deal with things like that happening.
Davis trying to retire Grant Norris. He's the guy that you mentioned earlier that got a nice swing on that fastball early.
Oh yeah, he's definitely a hitter to be feared, but I think we can handle him today.
He struck out his first AB against Davis. He punched out the first 4 guys of this game.
Yeah, he did.
And we talked about it earlier. His last start, he also struck out the side in the first inning.
Really?
Yes, back-to-back starts.
Let's hope that trend continues.
Well, I think he saw your strikeout total yesterday, being the highest of any starter to this point in the summer, and is trying to one-up it and do it himself here.
Hey, I'm all for it. I hope he gets it. I'm all about my teammates winning. I love it. I love it. Let's see what he does here. Oh,
That was
pitch.
close.
So that I wanted to move to that point as we see the walk there. You mentioned, what would he do in this spot? What does he like to do? You're coming from a smaller program. You're meeting a lot of different players who have played really all over the place in some different spots. You talked about the funniness that Travis Bazzana brings to the team. What are some things that you've learned from some of these guys, including baseball, maybe even not baseball, about what some of these players like to do in terms of getting that chemistry going?
I've noticed that they, as a team, from where I come from, we don't play that many games. We don't joke around with each other like that. Not to the extent that this team does. And I feel like that's been the biggest transition, because if you notice in the beginning of the summer, we were off to a little shaky start. And but as we've progressed, we've all, even with the new guys coming in, that's a good catch. But as the new guys were coming in, they transitioned right into the team and they fit right in. They were the most perfect pieces we could get. And so they fell right along into with playing the games and really just enjoying themselves. So everybody loves each other, and it's a good competitive team, really.
You mentioned some of the new guys. One of them, Luke Heyman, he caught you last night for the first time. Walker Yannick was the catcher in your first start, I believe. So how has it been working with 2 different guys that you don't really know that much before they catch you?
They are both so good. You don't have to know them. You just have to do your job, and they're going to do theirs, and they really they handle it. Like, you can throw it. They make you feel like you can throw anything, anywhere, and they'll do their best job to make something positive come out of it.
Long run for Tracy, but he runs it down. Davis limits the damage to just 1. We're going to step aside. Jacob's going to stay with us. We'll catch you guys in the bottom of the 4th.
Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention.
Jose and been a host family for the 2nd year. We found that every single player, even those that weren't staying with us, were polite, respectful, and really appreciated what you were doing for them.
After a while, they were bringing home players, and they were always hanging out down in the man cave.
Almost every day is another memory that you make. We even have friends of ours that will text us and let us know, did you see what happened? We've gotten a lot of other people supporting them as well.
Welcome back to Gov Fuller Field. We're glad you guys joined us. We're having a lot of fun up here. We hope you guys are having fun at home. The Doors down 1-0, but as we mentioned earlier, Jacob, they were down 1-0 yesterday, and they sure gave you some response.
Yeah, they sure did. And, I mean, you can't ask for more than that. They always come through for you. They really do.
And it's a team that's been really going well as of late, as we talked about. But this is a good team on the other side, and we should have some really fun baseball. These are the types of games you really love to see on this league.
Seriously, you really do, especially when you have 2 pitchers who are really commanding the zone and 2 pitchers who are crafty. It speeds the game up as well. It's a more fun type of game to watch.
Now, when we see you on the mound, I noticed it yesterday a lot. You're right up there quickly after you deliver the pitch. You're ready to go for that next pitch, and Braden Davis does a lot of the same. How much of that is just you wanting to stay in your groove if you're hitting the strike zone as consistently as you want to when you're in a groove out there?
That is probably 90% of the reason why. It's just when you get in that tempo, get in that rhythm, same feel, it's just easy to repeat your mechanics. But when you start switching up the timings of when you're doing stuff, it gets really hard to stay around the zone. Oh, that's a great hit knock.
Bazzana with another hit, extends his hit streak. Keeps himself moving, his on-base streak up to 14 games now for the Beaver, and he just continues to find barrels. I mean, you go back to the cycle, but at the end of the day, a changeup middle is going to get hit by Bazana more often than not.
Oh, yeah, 100%. If you make a mistake with Travis, he's going to make you pay for it. But one thing that makes Travis as good as he is that he has mid-at-bat adjustments. So if you blow a fastball right by him inside and just blow his doors off, he's going to make sure you're not beating him on that again.
And when you're teammates with some of the best hitters in the country, have you had some conversations with them in terms of maybe what they like to do against the opposition that maybe helps you out when you're facing some tough hitters?
Yes, I actually have. Me and Travis talk a lot, and we were talking, and we came to the conclusion that a lefty-lefty changeup is effective if you can locate and get the same movement as if a righty was in the box. And a lot of lefties, when they get up there, that's the last thing they're thinking about is something breaking back into them. And so if you can really get that pitch down and command that pitch, that stands the batter up, and it opens everything up to the outside of the part of the plate.
Right.
And so I actually just recently learned that, and this next outing I'm gonna try to implement.
You're gonna show us what you learned?
I'm gonna try to implement it. So I'm gonna work on it during practice, and we're gonna see if Travis's advice works. We're gonna see if it's good.
He definitely is a guy that knows a whole lot about baseball. Talking with him, just every little thing he does. He was at Driveline last summer and talked about a lot of the analytics and the stuff in his swing that he learned, and you can definitely see it when he comes out here. He got off to a really slow start to the summer. I mean, he was 2 for 23 at one point, I believe, and now entering today, he was sitting at 348 average, and that's just going to get higher after that hit.
Yeah, he's the man. He's the man, and I hope after he leaves the Cape Cod and this next baseball season, he really just tears it up because he deserves every bit of it.
And a new pitcher into the game for Pitt. It is, or for Cotuit out of Pitt. It is number 31, the righty Ben Koval.
Yeah, Koval's going to come in here. I believe we saw him not too long ago, Zach. 28 appearances on the summer. He started 3 games last year. Went 3-3 with a 6.8 ERA. Gave up 36 hits this year. Only 34 runs as well. The batting average against the opposition was close to 280, so he got teed off on just a little bit. But his 8 saves while he was at Fordham, that has him ranked 6th all time. So he's got some experience in terms of later relief. We got to see how he adjusts to coming in here as the first man out of the bullpen.
Just trying to keep himself going in this game. They let Martinez go for a little bit, gave up 1 hit, and now he's done. He was cruising, though.
Yeah, he was. I'm surprised they honestly pulled him.
He is a guy that was a closer at UC San Diego,
Okay.
so isn't a guy that's used to going too many innings, but he did throw a good amount for the Tritons this season and got himself a 6-1 record with 9 saves. His numbers were really good out in the Big West.
I mean, you can tell that he's one of those crafty guys.
There's your bullpen guys out there having some fun.
Those are the guys. I love them.
And it's been really nice, something we've got to look at over the last few games we got into, and we're really enjoying having it, is the TrackMan analytics up here. How much is that kind of stuff? I know some guys are big analytics, some guys are not. How much do you look at or really care about that kind of stuff?
If you would have asked me this question about a month ago, I would say I really didn't care about it. But now I'm starting to use the data towards my advantage and really learning on how my ball moves, how they tunnel off of each other, and what I can throw to hitters. And there's just only certain things that I can see, you know. But when you have stats to back it up, it really helps you get a good foundation of you as a pitcher.
Well, when you throw 7 pitches, it helps us too. You can figure out which one you're going with. When you got 3 different types of curveballs that do a little bit differently compared to the others, it also does us a good job.
I could imagine it helps you guys out a lot.
Definitely, it's been nice. It's something we've had to learn over the last couple of years into this, the way to kind of tell based off of the speed and the spin rate and the break and everything, of trying to identify pitches with that, because every guy's pitch does something different.
It really does. You might have some guys that spin a curveball at 3,000 RPMs and some that spin it at 2,100.
The barge flies out. Just missed that fastball. Speaking of spin at 3,000, you've got to look at Hunter Hodges on the heat sheets for Cape League. One of the top spin rates across the league, over 3,000 on that breaking ball.
Yeah, I call that pitch the flu because it is sick. Let me tell you, it is something else.
That's a good line. Might have to get on the headset a little more often with that type of line.
Oh man, come on! I got a lot more. I'm just trying to be professional.
There goes DeBarge. Pizzana taking second. That was almost a pitch out type look. Fastball outside and throw down, and Pizzana still takes the bag.
Mm-hmm. Ka-chow.
Well, Lightning McQueen there, swiping it in again. Yep. We've talked about it day in and day out. Stolen base number 52 for this Falmouth offensive group on the bases. It's probably a lot of fun, too, and guys are trying to help you out, get some runs. They're just so active on the bases.
They are so good. You just, again, they play the game right. If any opportunity presents itself, they are shooting the gap and trying to make the most of it. So, again, with these guys, it's all love. I'm happy I'm with these guys. It's a fun team to play with.
Had you been up to this area before?
No, I've never. This is the farthest I've ever came. The farthest north I've ever been is I went to Minnesota, but I've never came to like the northeast side.
Okay. You like it up here? I mean, I know it was a little rainy today, but
oh, it's beautiful. Honestly, I fell in love with it. I really want to move here after everything. After everything's said and done, I want to move here. It's so beautiful.
So what's been your favorite part of being up here and your favorite things to do out here?
The beach. The beaches are awesome. You know, especially I'm staying with Paul and Patty Clooney, and they live in a neighborhood, and they have a beach at the end of the neighborhood, so it's a private beach. So man, when I tell you I've been spending so much time out there just sitting down in the sand, just enjoying it.
Love it.
You don't get that too much in Alabama.
2-2 ground ball to second. Petre retires McGregor, but that moves Pizzana up to third. Now brings up Walker Yannick in a spot with that tying run just 90 feet away, but 2 outs. So you're going to take a hit or a wild pitch.
Well, you mentioned going to the beach. We've been trying to do that too, but with fog cancellations and rain coming in, I mean, you haven't had too much of a chance to enjoy an off day.
Well, let me tell you, whenever y'all go, make sure you reach out to me because I want to go with y'all.
All right.
Oh.
Yannick pops up a breaking ball on the first pitch. Harlan snags it in the door. Strand a runner on third base. It's 1-0 Cotuit. We're going to send it down Destiny Sanchez, but first, just want to say thanks for coming up here, man. It was a lot of fun.
No, that was awesome. I hope I can get up here again.
All right. We will definitely see about that the rest of the way through. Now we're going to send it down to Destiny Sanchez.
The Cape League All-Star Game is coming to White House Field in Hartwich on July 22nd. Gates will open at 1:30 p.m., a home run derby will begin at 4 p.m., and first pitch is scheduled for 6 p.m. Tickets are $10 each with free admission for children 12 and younger. Tickets are now available online at capecodbaseball.org, at the merchandise booth under the press box at Gov Fuller Field, or will be available at the gate on July 22nd. Buy yours today and come watch the top players from across the league all on the same field. We'll catch you on the other side of the break. You're watching Falmouth Commodores baseball.
It's a 1-0 game at Gov Fuller Field. Braden Davis back to the mound for his 5th inning of work. And you get a look at the standings across the division. It's nice to see Falmouth in a playoff spot right now and continuing to creep towards that top. And Matt, above 500.
Yeah, that's the first time all year that the Doors have had more in the W column than they have the losses, and it's been good. You know, this team's been really battling and fighting it. 3 wins for the first 15. The team looks completely different since then. 10 of the last 12 have gone the way of the Doors. A little bit of work to do today, but again, you're above the threshold. You got to be in the top 4 in your division to be dancing after August 2nd in the postseason here in the Cape League. And the way the Doors are trending, you like the chances of that happening.
There's still a lot of time left and a lot of tight race to go, but if the playoffs did start today, this would be the opening round matchup. Two teams that would be the 1-4, but as we've seen so far in this game and as we've seen in the series so far at times, although there have been a couple of blowouts in that one each side, these teams are going to give competitive fights to each other. McGregor gets out number 1 as Davis retires James McCoy, trying to settle himself back in after giving up that unearned run in the 4th.
Yeah, it's tough because the Doors do such a good job of limiting those mistakes in terms of the earned runs and all that. 5th in the Cape League right now in earned runs and 5th in that same metric when it's just the total runs. So you don't see it too often. This team's really, really stout, especially because of this run. But again, we talk about the conditions. And we might be good enough to play baseball today, but that doesn't mean that the rain hasn't had an impact on the conditions and make it pretty like slick out there, like a slip and slide.
And that's exactly what cost Falmouth its first run, was the slip from Humphreys in left. Harlan pulls it to DeBarge. 2 down.
You just got him to roll over one relatively sharply, not too much to that. Throw nearly took McGregor with it, but was able to keep his big foot there on the bag. And again, this is just efficient. This is as efficient of an outing as it could be for Braden Davis. And you know the Doors bats are going to get going here in just a second, and you got yourself a good outing here. And if you're an arm in Braden Davis right now, it's 1-0. You're pitching a great game. You want your offense to get going. The fact that he's keeping his team in it against a team that put up 18 runs yesterday, holding them to 1 right now is really impressive.
It's a 1-1 count. Now to Dylan Johnson. He was a strikeout victim back in the 3rd. He was trying to quick pitch there. Couldn't catch the zone. It's been a pitcher's duel to say the least here. Just 2 combined hits between these two sides, 1 apiece.
Yeah, and again, it's just been a really clean effort on the mound. That was that big hooking changeup.
And punches out Dylan Johnson for the 2nd time. It's the 6th strikeout for Davis. He's worked 5, giving up just 1. The Falmouth offense trying to get going when we come back to Falmouth.
Do you think that talking to people and not telling them that you're on the mic is like being in a car with someone calling someone and not telling them you're on speaker?
Are you macked up?
You already know, Big Bama.
Macked up, baby. Macked up. Believe it.
Mocked up with Big Bama.
Yeah.
Oh, Walker! I actually can't believe you did that. We won't talk about what he did, but he ruined my back grip. Oh, on the road? Who is this guy? Get this man a contract. 33 for the Commodores. Tyler McGregor. Find out about him. Sometimes I hit myself. I don't know, I've just seen Michael Phelps do it a little bit before he races. Makes me feel a little bit better. Yeah. Yeah, right there. Take it with, oh, out. Uh-huh. Hey.
You saw Travis Bazana there, a guy that might be playing in Harwich in a couple of weeks in the All-Star game, we would guess. There were 2 Commodores that started the Cape League All-Star game last year, and that's our trivia question for today. Which 2 Commodores started in that All-Star game last year? Tweet your answer at us, at @FalCommodores on Twitter, using hashtag DoorsTrivia.
I think I know one of them.
Okay.
That's where I'm at right now, thinking about that. We'll have to see when we find out the answer later on in the broadcast.
Yeah, we'll have to see if you're honest on whether you were right or not at that point.
Well, I don't want to.
You could.
I'm going to write it down.
Yes,
I'm
write
gonna
it down.
Write it down.
We need to keep you accountable over there.
I'm going to write it down. This might be a bad guess. I hope not. But I think I am right for one of them.
Cade Snell trying to pull one through the right side, but Emilian Petre is a black hole at second base and picks up out number 1.
Yeah, he's been, that's a good way to put it. He's been getting a lot of baseballs over there. Already, I believe, 5 putouts now over there, given the 4-3 on our scorecard here. And again, early in the at-bats, I mean, some Commodores here and even the Kettleers swinging early, being aggressive and trying to find some pitches. But to this point, Isaac Martinez, a little shaky there, but got through it unscathed. And now so far, Ben Covell has been really, really locked in.
Starts Gavin Keelan outside. Going to the off-speed to start him off. Little future ACC matchup here with the Louisville Cardinal and the future Pitt Panther. Keelan slices it out to left, but Banks has it, and 2 down.
And gave that one a ride, just didn't quite get all of it for that routine put out into left. Very uncommon from this Falmouth team so far during this stretch, and that's just because it's a good baseball team that they're going against. I mean, keep in mind, 2 hottest teams on Cape Cod right now are dealing with it. Both sides pitching have just been really, really good. The Commodores averaging 11.5 hits per game during this 12-game stretch. Only 1 so far. And that's credit to the Kettleers and what they've been doing so far. And right now, the righty out of Fordham getting ready to jump to the ACC with Pitt, but he's looked really, really good and settling in nicely here.
Humphreys finding himself in this count. Trying to battle. Get the door as a 2-out base runner. Another ground ball to Petre. And he'll retire Nate Humphreys. Doors down in order in the 5th. We're flying through this one at Gov Fuller Field. It's 1-0. Cotuit in front. Headed to the 6th inning. And that means Matt Venezia will have the play-by-play for you the rest of the way when we come back. Braden Davis heading back out for a 6th inning of work in this 1-0 game. But we've got to give you guys the trivia answer in just a second. But before we do, I got to test Matt. He said he had one. Matt, who do you think it is?
Okay, I'm 2 for 2 so far, I think. Had it written down here, so I'm not lying. I'm going to go with Braden Taylor as my guess.
Braden Taylor is incorrect.
Uh-oh. Oh, Gabe.
I asked Gabe,
Gross is looking at me
scorekeeper.
laughing.
So there it is. It is Colby Halter, and it's Andrew Pinkney as well. And I say it is Colby Halter. That's who Gabe was saying up here in the booth.
Gabe was laughing at me.
Yeah, you got a big thumbs down from the PA guy, Brennan Capozzi, who was also here last year in your defense.
Yeah, I wasn't, as we now get going here in the 6th inning. Matt Venezia, Zach Serdenik, Destiny Sanchez. We had Jacob Smith here earlier, too. We're having a fun time. I mean, this has been the most anticipated game, I would say, on the summer so far, given the stakes between the 2 sides. And Braden Davis, not the Tampa Bay Rays first-round draft pick of a couple of days ago. Braden Davis behind 3-0, tries to get the fastball outer third, able to do that there consecutively. Back to the top of the order, and Trey Younger, 0 for 1 officially, struck out to lead off the ball game. That one really the only slip-up from Davis to this point in his outing. Not really a chance on that one, and it's his 2nd walk surrendered.
Yeah, Younger just finding his way on base again. He was retired on that fielder's choice last time. But this is really big. Davis needs to continue to put up zeros as long as he's in there at this point, because right now you don't have a run.
Deep drive into left on the first pitch he sees. Cole Mathis went yard yesterday, and he did that by a mile on that cut. A 2-run shot makes it 3 for the Kettleers.
It's the fastball up in the zone, and Mathis turned on it. Finds himself yet another long ball as he continues to climb up the home run standings and the home run leaderboard here on the Cape. That's his 6th. He's trying to catch up to Hunter Hines from YD.
The two-way player has pitched a little bit here as well, doing his best Shohei Ohtani impression there, picking up RBIs number 20 and 21 on that swing right there. And really, as we are getting into this ball game's later stages, the only asterisk to what's been a really, really good outing from Braden Davis. Couple of hops to DeBarge, and a nice response after the long ball for the first out here in the 6th.
Yeah, you've given up 3 runs to this point in the game, but with how the offense has been for Falmouth over the last 12 games, 3 runs is something that they can find their way through. Just going to have to work some base runners together and put up an inning.
We'll see how much longer Davis is going as well. I mean, the efficiency has certainly been there, not an issue at all. This is going to be pitch number 81 now, through entering 5 2/3 innings of work. And albeit you're looking for 10 to 15 probably per inning to keep on track with that number, which is right where he's at. But Ben King, the newest acquisition for the Commodores out of Georgia Tech, is warming right now. So we'll have to keep an eye on Coach Mike Landry, pitching coach, to see how much longer he wants Davis out there, maybe to probably get through this inning, because he's only given up 2 hits. One of them there was of a 2-run variety.
He also has a left-handed hitter on deck in Emelian Petre, and so if you can get through these next 2 hitters, then you find yourself through 6 innings. You only need the bullpen to work 3.
Norris gets rung up on that one off the plate, and a good pitch there for another strikeout. Number 7 for Braden Davis is the second out of the 6th inning.
Davis is moving on up in the strikeout leaderboards as well. That's number 23 now for him.
First pitch swinging along the right field line. McGregor showing off that slip and slide. It's a little slick there in the grass here at the Gov. And that'll end the inning. But a big thump with a 2-run shot from Cole Mathis has broken it open just a little bit, but still plenty of baseball the rest of the way here from Gov Fuller Field.
Commodore fans, the Falmouth Commodores are celebrating 100 years in the Cape Cod Baseball League, and you're invited to the party. Join us at Gov Fuller Field on July 15th for a free afternoon of live music, local food trucks, games, and player autographs. The fun starts at 3 p.m. and goes until 5:30. Join me and Homer in Falmouth on July 15th for an afternoon of fun, games, music, and Cape Cod baseball, all for free.
July the 14th, here in the year of 2023. Some significance, though, on this day in history.
All the way back in 1954, the first ever Cape League perfect game was pitched. An Orleans win over YD from Roy Brunninghouse.
Well, we saw a third of a perfect game at least from Braden Davis, 9 up, 9 down, rather quickly, including several strikeouts, had 4 consecutive and 5 overall through that first part of the lineup card. And got, again, a really solid outing from him, but that 2-run shot on the walk certainly looks a little bit tougher now as Tab Tracy in the 9th spot here will lead off the 6th inning for Falmouth.
Speaking of rather quickly, that's what it's been from Cotuit on the mound as well. Whether it be Martinez or Koval, just finding the zone again and again.
The Commodores' lone hit in this ball game will be the third man to bat in this order, as Tab sends that one slicing into the spectator section there along the left field foul territory area. It was Bazana last time up in the 4th. Was able to swipe a bag to second and then was stranded at third base. The Doors had a chance to find a run. Now a little bit more of a number to chase. It's a good leave off the plate from Tab Tracy, sophomore Texas A&M product. Has family in town over the last week. We got to meet them yesterday. He goes up the ladder here and comes up empty for the first out.
The center fielder from Oklahoma,
And
number 17,
Cotuit's really having their success just by getting themselves swings that aren't great swings from Falmouth in terms of contact. Only 3 strikeouts to this point. That was the first swinging one. 2 strike threes called, and that's it.
That's the skipper, Mike Roberts, wanting a discussion here at the mound. It appears the move, and there it is, will be made. An arm the Doors have seen before this season. Finn McElroy will come out to take over here with 1 out in the 6th inning. We'll have his numbers and what he's done to this point in the Cape League season when we come back.
Want to display some Falmouth pride? Show your support for the Commodores by picking up a rally rag at the intern tent. Rally rags are $2 each or 3 for $5, and you can wave them all summer long while you cheer on the team. Wear your rags to home games or raise them high to help us close the door on our opponents. Just make sure to get yours today. Supplies are selling fast.
So UCLA Bruin to the mound in Finn McElroy. We last saw him in the Falmouth Commodores win the other day, 12-2 in that July 4th / July 6th effort. But nonetheless, he takes the mound here in the 6th inning.
Well, and for McElroy, it was the July 4th of that game. He got the start and gave up a couple of runs. Those are 2 of the 3 runs he's given up this summer. He went 2 innings, gave up just 1 hit, 1 walk, but the Doors found ways on base and found ways in the early going of that game. This time he's coming in relief and trying to keep himself and keep Cotuit in a good spot because they've been so dominant.
Good amount of experience, too, for McElroy this year in his freshman campaign out in Pasadena. 18 innings, struck out 22 batters over that stretch of time. Batters hitting just better than a quarter of 1,000 in terms of the average over at school in the Pac-12. Not for much longer, though. About to be Big Ten country down there in Southern California. That's a conversation for a different day, coming from a Pac-12 broadcaster.
The whole
right
country
here.
is Big Ten country.
Yeah, apparently. But McElroy will do it here. And after that strikeout from Tab Tracy, he'll see the top of the order in John Spikerman, who will bat from the left side. A switch hitter role that Spike has. But nonetheless, it's been a good amount of work here from the arms of the Kettleers. Again, now just 107 runs given up this season from this staff. That's the very best in the Cape League. ERA, second at 3.51 entering today's action. Doesn't matter how hot you are, but sometimes arms know what to do. In those defensive matchups like we're seeing right now, Zach. how do you break through? If you're at this point of the ball game, several times through the order, are you looking to change the approach up, if at all?
You're just looking to hit the ball hard, get good contact on the baseball, and that's really all you can ask for.
Well, as we mentioned, John Spikerman from the left side. 3 hits yesterday for Spike in the top part of the order on the road at Bourne. 7-2 win for the Commodores. Both these teams riding the longest active winning streaks of any Cape team so far. This is the longest active for Falmouth at this point in the year. Had a 4-game streak going into a matchup with Bourne. That was the same situation as yesterday, except this time the Doors came out victorious. That loss that ended that streak, a 7-6 defeat here at the Gov.
You talked about Cotuit's pitching. That's been so key to this. They've given up 1 run between the last 3 games, including tonight, and haven't given up a run in 15 innings of work.
Spikerman, not the hardest bit of contact here. It's a flip to first. Mathis with the putout. 2 away.
I'll give you one guess who that ball was hit to.
Emilian Pitre with his 7th putout today. I mean, for the most part, you don't need any other defenders other than number 4 out there in that maroon jersey for the Kettleers. But it is Travis Bazzana now. Anytime he steps in, you always got a shot. You're only trailing 3. Bazzana, the lone hit in the ball game for the Commodores. Trying to get another here, and he chops it right at the home plate area.
He's had multi-hit games in a lot of the games on his hit streak. See if he can pick up another one today and try and start a rally with 2 outs.
Including this effort now with his hit streak moving to 10 games. Just 3 games during those 10 games have not been multi-hit efforts. I mean, that's a nugget in of it itself. The 0-1 right there at 90. And the Aussies behind 0-2.
He's shaking his head after that one. Talk about the mid-at-bat adjustments from Bazzana that Jacob Smith was mentioning. We'll see if he makes one right here after taking that fastball. Started with a changeup. Wonder if he's expecting the breaking ball.
It is that breaking ball, relatively hard, and Pitre again getting a workout at second base. And unfortunately for the Commodores, it's another 1-2-3 inning work defensively by the Kettleers. We're through 6 with Falmouth still looking for its first run.
The Falmouth Commodores merch shop is the one place to go for all your Commodores merchandise. Check out our full collection of hats, including the official game hats, the Commodores, along with shirts of all kinds. And for those colder nights, don't worry, we've got you covered with hoodies and jackets. We've even got bats, balls, pins, and more for all your collecting needs. Speaking of collecting, this year the Commodores are celebrating their 100th year with plenty of Centennial merchandise. The Commodores merch shop is the one place to get your 100th year gear. All the Centennial merchandise is while supplies last, so make sure to get it before it's gone. And hey, you never know who you'll find when you stop in. And there's always something to tip your hat to. Come say hi to us under the press box behind home plate before we close up shop in the 9th. And as always, roll doors.
Braden Davis's outing is over. The ball's been handed to the newest Commodore taking the mound out of Georgia Tech. It's Ben King.
Ben King had good numbers with the Yellow Jackets of Georgia Tech. 6-2 record, 3.73 ERA. Mostly in relief, 25 appearances, 3 of them starts. But he really did good stuff in the ACC. 55 strikeouts, 16 walks.
Shows us his cutter there at 87, up and away for a strike to Emilian Pitre. Pitre had been doing a lot of the putouts, as we mentioned, 7 of them. And it appears, I apologize, it's T.O. Banks in the box, excuse me. And with Banks in there now, out in left field tonight. The first for Ben King to work against, and he gets drilled on that one. And that's another way for a leadoff man to reach. Falmouth got bit by the leadoff man reaching with that walk an inning ago. And now the same situation presents itself.
There had only been 2 times in this game that Cotuit has had the leadoff man aboard. Both times the Kettleers came around to score. Once on the single and then the error in the 4th, and then the 2-run homer in the last inning. Back-to-back hitters who started with that slider, really using the off-speed stuff to get ahead.
Goes with it there. It's a good pitch to utilize. We'll see what else Ben King likes to throw here. You mentioned his good numbers at school. And that one's right into the 6-hole there the other way. Couple of knocks have started to pick up here for this Cotuit team. That's already 4 in the game to the Falmouth 1. And already 2 on, nobody out here in the 7th.
This is getting into dangerous territory for Falmouth because you don't want to fall down any further behind than 3 to a team like Cotuit. Yes, I know the Falmouth offense has been really good, but you've only got 9 outs to work with against the best pitching staff on the Cape.
Both teams trying to keep their win streaks going. Each of the team's last losses, as Destiny told us earlier on in the broadcast, were to each other. So, if you do the math on that, these 2 teams are the very best right now in terms of who's trending in what direction. Trotter trying to get one down there, he can't.
And even with the game tonight, one of these teams is going to win this game. Right now it looks like Cotuit's in the driver's seat to do that, but for Falmouth on the other side, if they drop it, or for Cotuit, if Falmouth comes back here, there is nothing hurt with how these teams have been playing. They can go into, for the Doors, a stretch back against the East in the next 2 days and try and continue to play good baseball.
Still trying to get that bunt down, they do here. And the throw, it pulls McGregor off. Not a good bid there from Ben King. It'll be an error, the 2nd of the game for the Commodores, and they're fully loaded with Kettleers everywhere you look.
Wheels starting to fall off here a little bit for the Doors, just trying to right the ship and settle themselves down.
So now Dylan Johnson, pair of strikeouts for him. But the opportunity is massive here. 3 is comfortable, but this would really be a thorn in the side of the Commodores. Still with 3 more sets of at-bats, but you don't want this to get any larger. A chopper down the third base line. 1 will score. Here comes another. And it's going to be a long 2-run single for Dylan Johnson. And it's a 5 spot for the Kettleers.
Center fielder from Georgia Tech, number 6, Trey Younger.
Really unfortunate for the Doors. Really good start from Braden Davis tonight, and Falmouth just unable to back him up to this point.
Dylan Johnson wasn't hit all that hard, but not ready for it. That one hit a little bit harder. It gets down into left, and that's going to be another one. It's a 3-run inning here in the 7th. Trey Younger comes up with an RBI knock. And the Kettleers, over the course of the last inning and change, have put up 5 runs on the Commodores.
There's still nobody out in the 7th inning either. It's a long way from out of the woods for Falmouth. We saw what this Cotuit team can do yesterday. They can put up runs in bunches and in a hurry. And they're doing that right now.
Chopper here straight back. Right by Walker Yannick. The Kettleers that game 18-0 against Wareham. Just a really tough game for the opposition, who the Commodores saw not too long ago. But now you got to try to limit it if you can. Yesterday, Cotuit put up 4 runs in the 7th inning. En route to that, now this one gets away, and everyone's going to move up on the wild pitch. Zach, it was a 4-run 7th yesterday, as we were talking about. A 6-run 6th inning for Cotuit. In what was otherwise, I mean, prior to that, it was still an 8-0 ball game. But my point being, even when the Kettleers are in front, they don't mind pulling away. This team is very capable.
They are, and we're getting in a spot where in this game, it's going to be really tough for the Doors to come back. They can put up a lot of runs in a hurry. We've seen it. But the other thing you have to think about in a spot like this is runs allowed is the tiebreaker. And we're coming down the stretch in the season where the Doors are looking at trying to find themselves the highest playoff spot they can. You got to think about not allowing runs, even in a spot like this where it's a big deficit.
Mike Landry now will go out there. There's an arm warming for the Commodores.
It's Cody Delvecchio getting ready to make his debut out of UCLA.
It's good to see the new guys get in here and see what they're capable of, especially with the run of games of 11 consecutive, already being game number 4 of that streak. The Doors were certainly looking to add some arms. They've done that. But not the start and the debut you would have wanted to see from Ben King, with Delvecchio waiting to come in. But for now, it'll be King to take on the next man to bat in Caleb Lomavita. Base hit back in the 4th. Officially 1 for 3 today. Drove in 3 last night, part of that 18-run victory there against Wareham. Infield in on the grass. The obvious play at home here. First pitch slider away from Lomavita. Caleb being the 7th Kettleer to find the plate here for an appearance in this top of the 7th inning. Good wave and a miss there. Same pitch, same spot. Got the strike though on this one.
Just trying to limit the damage as much as you can.
It's been a pair of singles of the RBI variety that have put on 3 in this inning for the Kettleers. A couple of those sliders off the plate there. Lomavita, being honest, they're leaving it. Got to find a way to leave it where it is now, and the Doors need a massive second out here. That's a good start towards it. A chopper foul. And it's been that pitch so far, just trying to... And he got beat on the fastball a little bit earlier out there into the left. Trying to be a little bit cautious here is King and Yannick, the battery of Falmouth, trying to find that second out. It's a full count now. It is a 3-2 count for Ben King here. Open base, though. Not the worst thing in the world if this doesn't get there. This one given a ride out there into deep left field, and it's over the wall. The nightmare inning continues, and Lomavita has home runs in 2 consecutive games. And it's 9 for Cotuit.
That's what this team can do. That's why this team is the best team on the Cape. They don't go away.
Shortstop from Penn State, number 9, Rand Norris.
A 6 spot here in the inning. And now Mike Landry will go grab that baseball. Not the way you want to see Ben King's first outing go. Could only find an out in this 7th. And Cody Delvecchio Just finished his freshman year at UCLA. Not the situation I'm sure he wanted to get into for his debut. Mop-up roll here. It's all the other guys here at the Gov.
From UCLA, number 18, Cotuit Kettleers.
Are you looking for that perfect pregame meal? Supreme Pizza has you covered. Its extensive menu has everything from pies and calzones to salads and subs. And with its online ordering system, delicious food is just one click away. Supreme Pizza is open every day of the week. Order online or stop by their store located at 147 T-Ticket Highway and try a slice today.
From all of us at Supreme Pizza, we would like to wish the Falmouth Commodores a great season.
We told you Cody Delvecchio will be the arm to try to navigate through this chaos that's ensued. 6 runs with only 1 out away, all in this 7th inning. This game was 0-0 after 4, 1-0 after 5. And the home run ball has become alive here for the Kettleers over the last inning and a third and change.
God, they just swing it. This is their second 6-run inning in as many days.
This one popped foul. The Kettleers now 26 home runs on the Cape. I'm sure you can imagine that's first amongst everyone.
Well, and they hit the most home runs, and they give up the fewest.
That's a good combination to have en route to a 20-7 record at the very top of the West, very top of the overall Cape League. And this Cape League, the rosters are relatively balanced. I mean, the fact that these are still fair rosters as this one's
joking before the broadcast with their broadcasters about this team might clinch a playoff spot before the All-Star game.
I mean, it's a fair statement. Cotuit right now, 40 points put together through 27 games. Right behind them is Bourne at 31, a 9-point lead over the second-place team in this division. It'll be jam-packed the rest of the way. You'd have to imagine, with everyone outside of Cotuit in the West, because the Kettleers have shown up to this point on July the 14th with, 18 days left in the regular season, including today, Zach, that this team might be for real.
Yeah, they are continuing to do it with different guys. Come in, come out, and just keep producing.
Unless we see a double play ball, the Kettleers are about to bat around as Petre gets jammed on it. Tio Banks led off the inning with a hit by pitch. We mentioned that you can't let it hurt you with another leadoff base runner, and that statement did not age well, not even at all. If you're just tuning in, 6 Kettleers have come across to score in this inning with the help of a couple home run balls we've seen recently. Petre sent back on strikes. Good start for Delvecchio to find the second out. This is Banks now. Base runner is at first, and that's Grant Norris with that single we saw. Didn't really get a chance to tell you a whole lot about Delvecchio. Had a really, really good campaign, earning himself an honorable mention spot on the Pac-12's all-conference team. Was using some save situations, had 3 of them. That was second for the Bruins. 4.2 ERA as well in 45 innings worked. Jam shot here. He also was first in the conference in 36 appearances. He was used a lot as a rookie this year at UCLA. And that 36 number, Zach, 4th highest in the nation.
That'll definitely get yourself moving.
Nice spot here on the outer third. Used a off-speed pitch there, and it's 2-2. For those wondering, the Commodores are going to have 3-4-5 due up. Good chance to try to respond with something, as this one's put up on the infield. Bazzana wants it. He'll make the play to put an end to a tough inning for Falmouth. And over the course of the last 2, 8 Cotuit runners have come across. It's all the other guys as it's time to stretch here from the Gov.
Do your kids have big league dreams? Do they want to learn from the stars of tomorrow? Then check out the Falmouth Commodores Summer Baseball Clinics, where kids from the ages of 5 to 14 can hone their skills in pitching, hitting, fielding, and catching with help from the best college players in the nation. The clinics run from June to late July, and the 6 4-day sessions are divided by age group and experience level. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Give your kids a summer of baseball and a lifetime of memories.
Go Doors!
And they left one. Ready to go for the bottom of the 7th inning. Very, very different ball game since the last time the Commodores were in the batter's box. It'll be Kyle DeBarge starting it off for the Doors here. And Zach, what is the best way to kind of move forward here after giving up a big spot like that?
Well, a couple things. One, you just go one AB at a time. You're just trying to find yourself one spot and one chance to get some momentum going into tomorrow. Because, one, you can't hit a 9-run homer. So you can't come back on one swing. You have a chance to come back. There's no time limit in baseball. You still got to get all 27 outs. But the other thing is, like I mentioned briefly, you just want to build momentum into tomorrow because you've been playing so well. You don't want to let this game kill your confidence in your ability to produce at the level that they've been producing.
One-two count now to Kyle DeBarge, the third baseman for the Commodores. Still Finn McElroy out there now, and he'll ring him up looking. It's a strikeout for the first out. And now there's a pinch hitter. It'll be Luke Heyman. Luke Heyman in the box will be pinch hitting.
Put yourself in a spot where we'll see whether Heyman stays in the game at first or whether he kind of double switches to the DH type spot with then allowing the DH Cade Snell to come in at first. We'll see what happens.
Well, we liked the way Heyman swung the bat yesterday. Had himself his best game on the summer so far for Falmouth. And if nothing else, as you see him rope this one, heads up. Saw a liquid splash there. May have caught a drink or two.
That's unfortunate. I hope they got the ball if they're going to sacrifice the drink for it.
But it is the Florida Gator pinch hitting for Tyler McGregor. 2 for 4 yesterday. Had a double. Nearly had a home run. Late decision there to go after that one from McElroy, and it's quickly 0-2.
That curveball's working well for McElroy right now. He's cruising along.
Works out of the windup here with nobody aboard. Only comes in at 78. Wouldn't be a bad idea to kind of not roll out of the way of that one when you're chasing a number like this.
Yeah, but you also are chasing a number like this. And so do you really want to take it? Not really.
Back-to-back strikeouts to start the 7th. And now 2 away.
McElroy's cruising.
Came in relief of Ben Covell, who himself was cruising as well. A strikeout over 2 1/3 innings pitched. But he's come in and has really shut it down here. Only one hit in this lineup for the Commodores. Entering this ball game right up there with Cotuit in terms of playing the best baseball on the summer. And it's been the top dog in this West Division that has had the last laugh to this point. With Yannick in there now. Yannick gets on this one out to left, and that one will go. A no-doubter from Walker Yannick, and if nothing else, a nice positive swing by the Commodores. Breaks the goose egg here in the 7th.
And a nice bat flip from Yannick. He knew he got all of that one. 408 feet.
That's enough to clear the left center field wall. Home run number 2 for Yannick on the summer. Has hit a home run in back-to-back home games now for Falmouth.
Back-to-back starts for him.
Didn't start yesterday. It was Luke Heyman we saw. And the catchers for Falmouth starting to come together here. Just the second hit, though, tonight for the Commodores. Travis Bazzana was the last hit prior to that long ball. It was back in the 4th. Just a base hit. He was stranded at 3rd. At that point, the ball game was 1-0 for the Kettleers. But good to see nonetheless. The Commodores not quite going away just yet. We've seen crazier. Called a game this year with Arizona State and Grand Canyon. The Devils put up 8 in the 8 or 9 actually in the 8th inning. Came back and won that game on the road at GCU. It can happen. Got to take it in baby pieces. Oh, you said it best, though. You can't hit a 9-run home run, but you can hit a solo shot. That's what Yannick did right there. 3-0 now. Good bat to have in a spot where you're just trying to see what you can do and moving along. That goes for every bat to this point for Falmouth. But Cade Snell riding that 360 average, big hitting streak for him. Entering this contest, trying to extend it here.
He's worked good at bats today. He grounded out earlier in the game, but he worked that walk in. He's seeing the baseball well. He's up again in this count.
The 3-1. Missed it down low. Snell will reach at the risk of losing his 10-game hitting streak, but nonetheless an on-base streak will extend. He walked earlier in the ball game, so that streak was already continued on, but we'll have to see if we'll see him again. That all depends on how the Commodores do the rest of the way here. And there are 2 out in the inning. We'll get that updated here in just a second. But now it's Gavin Keelan stepping in. Keelan gives this one a ride into the gap in left center. It'll get down. Snell got a lot of speed. He's being waved around 3rd. The throw gets away from Norris. And just like that, that works. An RBI double. And a couple of extra base hits here in the 7th. Make it 9-2.
This is what we talked about, though. Finding yourself some momentum, getting yourself somewhat back into this game or closer to it. But at the end of the day, just giving yourself something to feel good about going into tomorrow.
Nate Humphreys, the next man to bat. And again, you just have to take it in pieces, Zach. Doesn't happen all at once. Commodores right now trailing by 7. It was 9. And Mike Roberts coming out for a visit here. McElroy, we talked about it, looked real good. But it appears that the Arizona State Sun Devil, Brock Peary, could be coming in here. We'll see if the move is made now. That conversation being had. All this being done with 2 out, by the way. So nice little bit of help worked here by the Commodores, trailing 9-2.
Just some good swings off of McElroy late in that outing. He looked really good to start this inning, and to start his outing just couldn't get through this order too much. And the Doors have been swinging the bats too well to get shut out.
Mike Roberts does make the move, and it is the Submariner from Arizona State, Brock Peary, when we come back.
You could have a future big leaguer in the family. Become a part of the Falmouth Commodores community by hosting a player for the summer. Host families provide a home away from home for some of the best college baseball talent in the nation, and the bonds formed between the players and families can last a lifetime. All host families will receive a weekly allowance from the Commodores organization to help cover expenses.
Good look there at the Submariner out of Arizona State. Brock Peary will try to keep this lead intact. Pretty easy job given the 7-run cushion. But there are 2 away looking for this final out.
And he's going to have to go through a couple of left-handed hitters here. The next 4 if you count the switch hitter in Spiker, who will be batting from that left side. So from that Submarine angle, a lot of times those guys come in and they have a lot of success bending the pitch back in on the hands of these hitters, right on right or left on left. If it's going to do that, it's going to bend away from the barrel of the left-hand hitter, which means they're going to have to work the outside part of the zone. Because if he tries to work inside and it doesn't catch the right spot, he's going to bend right back into a barrel.
Peary split the closing duties with Jesse Wainscott in Tempe this year. Signed from Willie Bloomquist and Sam Peraza, the staff over there at Arizona State. There's that bending pitch in on the hands, but it stayed a little too close in to Nate Humphreys for a ball. Waiting on deck is Tab Tracy. Needing a big number here are the Doors, with that one missing up and in as well. Got to take it in pieces, but you'd like to find a way, again, with how the at-bats are working, to flip the lineup to the point where everyone could bat probably at least one more time. That's how it appears to be going. Peary's able to find the zone there. To Nate Humphreys out of DBU. He's had some flashes this summer. Big game against the Gatemen a few weeks back. Went 3 for 4, had a home run. Looking for one right there on that cut. Came up empty. Big run out there in Gavin Keelan. I mean, there still is 2 more sets of at-bats in this ball game, and at this point, anyone you have out there, you'd like to bring them in. Nate a little late on this one, but just such a different angle. The way Peary gets down and releases that baseball almost by like his front kneecap, really.
Yeah, it just gives you the potential for something different because hitters are so about timing, and if you're used to looking at one spot, you got to change that up here.
Does the job. Humphreys going down. Not before the Commodores respond a little bit. Solo shot from Yannick. And an RBI double from Gavin Keelan. Bringing 2 for the Doors, but still trailing by a large number. We go to the 8th when we come back. But before that, we hear the other scores around the Cape with Destiny Sanchez.
Some scores around the Cape. The Harwich Mariners lead the Wareham Gatemen 3-0 in the bottom of the 6th. The Orleans Firebirds are ahead of the Bourne Braves 2-1 in the top of the 6th. And the Hyannis Harbor Hawks lead the Chatham Anglers 3-2 in the bottom of the 3rd. You're watching Falmouth Commodores baseball.
Seven, 8, 9, 2 up for Mike Roberts and the Cotuit Kettleers here. It's still Del Vecchio on the mound out of UCLA. Luke Heyman is now in at first base for Falmouth. We saw him pinch hit for Tyler McGregor. And just a routine swap, no double switching at this point in the ball game, but depending on the rest of the way, we could expect to maybe see some other guys get in. Heyman right out of the gate, and that one's going to eat him up.
They say when you enter the game like that, the ball will find you. It found Heyman and just ate him up.
E3 to a guy that's normally behind the plate in Luke Heyman. So now some work for Del Vecchio to attend to. But again, had just such a good year at UCLA this year. Through the end of April, Del Vecchio had a sub-1 ERA to that point in the season. Mention his numbers in terms of being used so often inside the top 5 nationally in terms of relievers used at certain points in the season. But also one of the new acquisitions that the Doors have had. Nice pitch there on the outer third. Makes it 1-2 here to Trotter Harlan out of the College of Charleston. Been at third base today. Reached on an error and scored on it last time. Ben King took Tyler McGregor off the bag on a routine 1-3. Another foul ball here makes it 1-2.
Cody isn't the only Del Vecchio out on the Cape this summer either. His brother Dylan played with Harwich. 7 appearances for the Mariners so far.
Well, the Del Vecchio brother here on this side of the Cape trying to find a way through this 8th inning here. Came in relief of Ben King. Only put out an out there in that 7th inning, just the first out. He won't be in line for the loss, but he certainly got tagged. This one misses upstairs. Right now it's Braden Davis in line, despite his really, really good outing up until the 6th inning, giving up the 2-run shot. Had given up just 1 run on 1 hit entering that inning. Had 7 strikeouts to go along with it, too.
Yeah, he was really good, and it's unfortunate the way that this game has played out for him, but he had really good stuff today. What a battle going on at the plate right now as well.
Delvecchio just firing in another one there here against Harlan. It's going to be pitch number 8 of the at-bat here. And he left it upstairs. So the error and a walk have set up the Kettleers with Dylan Johnson coming up. A 2-run single for him last time he was up. Now Yannick will have a conversation just to calm down Delvecchio just a bit before the lineup card will flip back up to the top with Trey Younger.
Looking at a potential spot if Cotuit scores here with double-digit runs in back-to-back days for that offense.
Just 7 hits today in this effort. Yesterday, the Kettleers had 18. Baseball's a funny game. We mention it time and time again. But Falmouth here, again, just trying to be positive and be productive despite the deficit before turning its attention tomorrow in the team's centennial celebration. We haven't even brought that up yet. Tomorrow, celebrating Falmouth's 100 years here in the Cape League, hosting an Original Four team as well in the Chatham A's. Some activities here at the Gov will begin at 3:30 with the first pitch at 6. Zach and I will be there. It'll be a lot of fun.
We will. There's going to be a dunk tank.
Zach wants to get into that. Meanwhile, so does Tab Tracy there with an effort over there into first. Tab, we've seen him do that a lot. Laying out and taking away. For sure a hit, but probably another run too from Cotuit for the first out.
It was a really nice job. We talked about it yesterday when he made a really nice play out in the outfield that he's a guy that is used to playing center field. He covers a lot of ground, and he can make flashy plays like that on a regular basis.
Back up top to the center fielder of today's lineup for the Kettleers, Trey Younger. A pair of walks, officially 1 for 2 today. Has come around to score in 2 consecutive appearances. Was a part of that big 7th inning for the Kettleers that saw 6 runs for Cotuit come across. That one not going too far from Walker Yannick. Makes it 2-0. But the Chatham A's tomorrow for Falmouth. And then a date with the YD Red Sox. Our last trip in the regular season to Red Wilson Field. And I believe after that we'll have our makeup coming up with the Chatham A's on the 18th.
You do. You got Hyannis first on the 17th. That game is again on the road. So 3 straight days on the road for the Doors after tomorrow. At YD, at Hyannis, and at Chatham.
Haven't seen those Harbor Hawks in quite some time, and they continue to play some good baseball.
I was going to say, all of a sudden they're looking at, if the scores hold the way they are right now, they're looking at solo second place by the end of the night.
They would still be 9 points out of first, given the way that this game is trending with the Kettleers. Nice pitch on the outer third. Running that slider pretty nicely right now is Delvecchio, using it to his advantage in this right-on-right matchup against Cole Mathis, or rather Trey Younger, excuse me. Couldn't quite get the spot here.
And while we're talking about the standings, we did some calculations earlier, and by we, I mean our score, Cape Gross did. We were talking about Cotuit being able to clinch before the All-Star game. We were mostly joking about that earlier, but it's a real possibility. The magic number is 8. And if the scores hold the way they are right now, it would be 6.
Line drive to Tracy. James McCoy is tagging. The throw's a good one. Just barely pulled Kyle DeBarge off the bag. A successful out for the Kettleers. Now makes it 2 away in the 8th.
And a chance to get out of this if you're Delvecchio and just keep yourself moving. Any runs that come across in this inning are now going to be unearned against his line anyways, but you want to keep as many runs off the board as you can for momentum's sake, for pride's sake, and for that tiebreaker's sake.
Mathis sharply. Spike tried to scoop it, and it's going to roll to the wall. 2 will score for the Kettleers. Mathis will cruise into second. And it's a 2-run double to put the Kettleers into double digits. Now, Zach, my question is, it's an ugly number like it is right now. In a close game, I don't think you're doing that scoop kind of play because of what could happen there. You don't want to make it any worse, but the game is relatively out of reach.
Yeah, and it's just an unfortunate hop because of the way that the field is playing right now after the rain earlier, and just it's unpredictable there. And it's a risky play, and Spikerman didn't come up with it.
Well, we've seen the conditions be in use in full force today. Tyler McGregor made a putout earlier, falling to his feet there in foul territory in the grass. Nate Humphreys blew a tire, which allowed the first run to come in there out on a routine base hit into left that should have held the first run over at third base, but that allowed Cole Mathis to come in and score. He was going to hold up at third. It also worked to the benefit of Tab Tracy. He went sliding probably another 3 or 4 feet after that putout he just had there.
It was a nice play.
But the Cotuit Kettleers, an offensive explosion here in consecutive games, and not the first or second of those kinds of wins during this win streak. As this wild pitch here allows Mathis to move on to third. Two in here this inning. It's been 10 runs over the last 2 2/3 from the Kettleers. A chopper and through. And it's a 10-run lead.
This is a really similar stretch to what we saw the first time these two teams met, where Cotuit just caught fire and everybody hit top to bottom. We've seen Falmouth do this to plenty of teams over the last couple of weeks. It's baseball. It happens. These are two good teams with really good offenses going at it, and today it's been the Kettleers.
This is headed to be the third win of what will soon be a 7-game win streak for the Kettleers, where the Kettleers have put up 10 or more runs. And it's all really been starting in that 6th inning.
The funny thing to look at about this series is you had the one-run game at Lowell Park last week, the 3-2 game that Cotuit beat Falmouth, but every other game has been just like this. Cotuit won 12-2, then 12-1, then Falmouth won 12-2, and now Cotuit's up 12-2.
Tracy coming in and hangs up enough for him to make the play. To end the inning, 3 come in for the 8th of the Kettleers, and the lead is into double digits. We'll be right back.
Hey, Commodore fans! The Falmouth Commodores are celebrating 100 years in the Cape Cod Baseball League, and you're invited to the party. Join us at Gov Fuller Field on July 15th for a free afternoon of live music, local food trucks, games, and player autographs. The fun starts at 3 p.m. and goes until 5:30. Join me and Homer in Falmouth on July 15th for an afternoon of fun, games, music, and Cape Cod baseball, all for free.
Welcome back here for the bottom of the 8th inning in a game that the Doors are going to want to put behind them. Plenty of opportunity ahead, though, over the next several days.
Yeah, get a look at that upcoming schedule. You got Chatham there twice. You've got a date with Hyannis, who is putting it on Chatham right now. Brady Donay just hit a grand slam to make that game 9-2. Hyannis continuing to roll, but YD's on there, Harwich's on there, some good teams, and you got to take advantage of that East Division like they have so far. There are good teams in the East Division, don't get me wrong, but the West overall has dominated the East. 38-26, the record between the two sides, and the West has controlled those interdivision matchups.
Just 4 losses for Falmouth against the East Division this year. The Doors Undefeated so far against the Brewster Whitecaps through the first 3 of 4 appearances. Still one more trip for us to Stony Brook Field before this thing comes to its conclusion. Tab Tracy in there now. It's still Brock Peary on the mound. But the Kettleers put together 9 hits en route to this 12-run effort here on the outer third. A good take.
Just trying to get yourself some momentum. We've talked about it a lot, but good swings. It's also a league where these guys are in it for their numbers and for their growth and their development, and these are still valuable at bats in a game like this. Just trying to find a way to put a barrel on a baseball and get yourself feeling good.
Gavin Turley has a helmet on right now. You would keep an eye on what he's going to be doing here. Maybe if a base runner finds a way to reach, he could come in. We mentioned it could be a kind of emptying out of the bullpen, or rather the dugout area for both sides. Nothing yet on the Cotuit side at this point. We did see Luke Heyman come in to take the spot of Tyler McGregor. But a full count now to Tab Tracy.
Really good fight. These are the type of at-bats that we were talking about you want to work.
Making Peary deliver. It is an advantage of the hitter, working that left on right that you see here now, but a different kind of approach needs to be taken when the baseball is releasing a lot lower than it normally is. Tab again, works another.
And to tell you just how quickly this game was flying early with Braden Davis on the mound and then Isaac Martinez on the other side, there have been 14 runs put up in this game, and we're still on a very good pace to be under 2.5 hours for game time.
Tab the other way, just barely foul, according to David Martinez down there at third. That was flirting on top of the third base bag there. Tab thought he had extra bases. And he'll work another pitch here.
And with his speed, he definitely would have had extra bases had he kept it fair. If that ball didn't get out of play, Tab's easily standing on second. If it does, he's standing there anyways.
Peary lost him here. Slider couldn't come back to the outer third. And it's a leadoff walk after a pretty good at-bat from Tab Tracy. And as we were anticipating, Gavin Turley will come in to pinch run for Tab Tracy. Back to the top of the order, the switch hitter, John Spikerman. 0 for 3 officially today. A lot of 0-fers in this lineup of Falmouth.
Going to make a defensive replacement, it looks like. Josh Pine's grabbing a glove.
You don't typically see that in the middle of an inning.
Oh, maybe they're just going to get... Harlan tossed his glove in the dugout and is running behind the bleachers.
Not entirely sure what that is. Mike Roberts will come out to make a change. And there is a Kettleer coming out. We'll see where he goes.
It's Brock Wills.
There's a change being made here, as you can see. Mike Roberts trying to get someone else back in. Brock Wills appears to be coming into this ball game.
Straight switch.
Not only was it the middle of an inning, it was the middle of an at-bat.
So Wills is in at third, taking the spot of Harlan. Don't typically see that again, as we mentioned, already with a pitch in the at-bat. But nonetheless, Kettleers making a swap. It's a 1-1 count now to Spikerman. Rolled softly and foul. We want to thank everyone for joining us here on the broadcast today. First 4 innings were really setting up a good one. Scoreless. Up until that 4th inning, the Kettleers did grab the lead in the top of the 4th. It was 1-0 Cotuit after 5. And even with the 2-run shot we saw in that 6th inning, Zach, it was still setting up like the Doors were going to have a chance the rest of the way, given how good the pitching has been.
Yeah, and especially given how good their offense has been as well. In that 4th inning, they gave up the run to Cotuit to make it 1-0, and they immediately got a runner over to third base. They weren't able to bring him in, but you had no inklings that this game was going to turn into what it has become.
Check on Gavin Turley, newly into the ball game now. It was a leadoff walk for Tab Tracy. And immediately when he was able to work it, Turley, the youngster, came to take the spot of the Texas A&M Aggie there. Nice pitch here by Perry. Was tempting, but left off the plate by Spike. Makes it 2-2. Turley trying to maybe put the game in motion here. That could be what's on. Doesn't hurt to at least try, especially if you're a team like Falmouth that's second in the Cape League in stolen bases. And there'll be a discussion here by Mike Roberts out on the mound.
And I think Mike Roberts might make another call. He was looking out to the bullpen as he walked out.
I mean, to do it in the middle of the at-bat, too. We've already seen it twice in this same at-bat. A mound visit being had. There is an arm out there. Brock Perry will remain in this ballgame. Could be some mind games being played. Don't really see the purpose of that. But nonetheless.
Also could just be trying to settle down Peary and give him a chance to get back into it, take a breath.
Wave and a miss. Ran that two-seam pitch off the outer third. Spike goes back with his second strikeout. That's the first out of the inning.
Pac-12 battle here now.
That's right. Peary out of Arizona State. Travis Bazzana, the Oregon State Beaver, flips one out into left. The line out there for the second out on one pitch.
Another good swing from Bazzana. We saw a few lineouts the other way in yesterday's outing. He got himself the hit. He's not going to feel great about how his night went tonight, but at the end of the day, he's still swinging the bat well.
Hitting streak extended and intact, and sometimes those are the only metrics you really kind of want to focus on in games like this. There's no I in team. That's not what I'm getting at, but you know, in an effort right now with the scoreboard showing the way it is, sometimes in a league driven by the individual and getting ready for the next level of baseball, you want to make sure your stuff looks good. Tough play, and by a step. Cal DeBarge retired. A leadoff walk is all we see. The next three go down in order. Going to the ninth with the Kettleers out in front.
So Peruzzi and been a host family for the second year. We found that every single player, even those that weren't staying with us, were polite, respectful, and really appreciated what you were doing for them.
After a while, they were bringing home players, and they were always hanging out down in the man cave.
Almost every day is another memory that you make. We even have friends of ours that will text us and let us know, did you see what happened? We've gotten a lot of other people supporting them as well.
Another Commodore debut on the mound. Nolan Moore out of Northwestern will have the ball here in the ninth.
He's somebody that pitched well at the end of the year for Falmouth last year. He started in Game 1 of the playoffs against Bourne a year ago.
After that season, saw 19 appearances, did Nolan Moore. Struck out 19 over his 19 and 2/3 innings pitched. His last 7 opportunities were combined 5.2 innings pitched. Only gave up 2 earned runs over that stretch. Good end of the season for him rather than the beginning. Gets Petray to go down 6-3 for the first out.
Yeah, back-to-back guys from Big Ten country, Matt. UCLA guy and then a Northwestern guy.
It's fun to see all the different matchups and teammates going head-to-head and former teammates and maybe it could be transferring to other schools. That's how college baseball is in today's modern day. This one thrown up into the night. Long chase for DeBarge, and there was that play is going to be made on the run. A tremendous effort by Kyle DeBarge. I was just getting ready to say there was a youngster out there that nearly got in the way. Kyle DeBarge with a running grab there for the second out.
Yeah, he almost trucked somebody out there. He had to make sure to not only avoid them, but make the play.
That was incredible. If nothing else, we've seen some glove work. Aside from the 3 errors today by Falmouth, there have been some good plays out in the field. And a nice start here. Just 3 pitches so far and 2 out for Nolan Moore. Fastball off the plate. And it's 2-0 now from Moore. The Doors will have 4, 5, 6 due up in the ninth. We showed you the upcoming schedule. We'll be with you all of those games. A couple on the radio, mixed in with the TV broadcast as well. Had Jacob Smith with us earlier. That was fun. But just seems like an entirely different ball game ago, given the way this one's run out.
It does. And we'll have a couple guests with us tomorrow. You'll have to tune in to the Centennial broadcast, so you'll be joining us.
Full day of activities. Hopefully a lot come out to the Gov here to check it out. Centennial season of the Cape League, centennial celebration of the Falmouth Commodores baseball here in this southwest portion of the Cape. A couple of towns over, that's where you find the Cotuit Kettleers, who are a couple of outs away from the Kettleers' third win in 4 tries against Falmouth to this point in the year. Still 2 more dates after this with Cotuit. 1 at each field, Lowell Park and Arnie Allen Diamond at Gov Fuller Field. It's 1-1 now. And how often do you see this? As we see Brock Wills in there now. Wants to go left on left. He's a switch hitter. He can do that. Middle of the at-bat, moving sides. Tough play for Bazana. Wasn't quite able to make it in time, but a great play in on the infield grass.
Yeah, it would have been tough, but I wonder if he would have had a better shot had he just tagged James McCoy or tried to tag him. It would have been a really tough play, though, either way.
Got to go back and see what Brock Wills just did. I mean, that's impressive. Middle of the at-bat. Able to move like that. That's really interesting. He's not listed as a switch hitter. Yet started that at-bat from the right side and then moved over to the left and got an infield hit. That might be one of the coolest things I've seen in baseball, Zach. Funny game. Good hook here. Coming in low 70s from Moore, trying to put away the inning outside of the walk and that infield knock. You don't want to bring in any more here, especially when you talk about run differential. Runs allowed being the number that hurts you when we talk about playoff tiebreakers and all that fun stuff in just a matter of a couple of weeks. That was James McCoy there at second. Brock Wills standing at first. Keelan goes the short way. And the Doors strand the 2 runners. With one last chance for Falmouth before this one's all said and done. You're watching Falmouth Commodores Baseball on the Commodores Baseball Network.
The Falmouth Commodores merch shop is the one place to go for all your Commodores merchandise. Check out our full collection of hats, including the official game hats, the Commodores, along with shirts of all kinds. And for those colder nights, don't worry, we've got you covered with hoodies and jackets. We've even got bats, balls, pins, and more for all your collecting needs. Speaking of collecting, this year the Commodores are celebrating their 100th year with plenty of Centennial merchandise. The Commodores merch shop is the one place to get your 100th year gear. All the Centennial merchandise is while supplies last, so make sure to get it before it's gone. And hey, you never know who you'll find when you stop in. And there's always something to tip your hat to. Come say hi to us under the press box behind home plate before we close up shop in the 9th. And as always, roll doors.
Bottom of the 9th inning coming up here. Last chance ups for Falmouth with Brock Peary still out there after those discussions we saw in the previous inning. You would have assumed that Peary could have been on his way out, but Mike Roberts just wanting to have a discussion out there during the middle of some of those at-bats. 0-1 now to Luke Heyman. Came into the ball game in place of Tyler McGregor. This is Heyman's second at-bat of the day. One and two now. The Kettleers will move on tomorrow And what will be a matchup at home for them against the other division's best team, the Whitey Red Sox, and the Kettleers tomorrow. Slider off the plate here, 2-2. That'll begin a stretch of 2 straight for the Kettleers against the East Division. A couple of sliders off the plate have Heyman from 0-2 now into a full count situation.
He just wants to keep up the good swings from yesterday.
Had a lot of them. Even the putouts were impressive. That's a good at-bat by Luke Heyman. Second at-bat of the game, as we mentioned, but coming cold off the bench to be able to fight off some like that. He stands at first.
Also, Cade Snell's going to get a chance this inning to try to keep that hit streak alive.
Well, we talked about it, hoping he'd get another chance given the 2 runs that Falmouth responded with after that 6-run 7th inning of the Kettleers. That could be something positive to hopefully be able to talk about. That's what it's about, again, in some of these games. And a lot of guys look at that like that, too, in pro ball. And when you're facing games like this, you'll see position players come in and pitch and all that kind of stuff. So it's meant to be relatively light. Yannick off the end of the bat, falls behind 0-2. Big breakout game for Walker Yannick yesterday. Or rather, I'm sorry, his last time he started, which was the last home game for Falmouth in that 9-2 win against the Whitecaps. 3 for 3 with 4 RBIs. Had his first home run on the summer. In his next start tonight, got his second.
Yeah, you didn't have to wait long for it. He hit that ball a long, long way.
It was in that inning of Falmouth with the 2 runs. The only 2 runs in the ball game to this point. This one gets Yannick. And now the first 2 have reached for Cade Snell in this bottom of the 9th inning.
Cotuit does have the biggest blown lead in the point streak era in the 9th inning in a game. That happened earlier this year, but that was 6. This is 10.
Johnson wants to go out there and calm down Peary just a little bit. We talked about some of the submarine guys and even talked about it with Steve Cishek when he was up here with us. The pitches, as you said earlier, run in on the opposing bats. So if it be the righty on righty, you can run it in on their hands. But even here, when you have a lefty, the fastballs run in on the swing path from that angle. It's not the hardest thing in the world to get on a pitch, given the arm slot here of Peary. Rather difficult from the angle here. This one flipped out into left. Just foul.
He almost found a way for Cade Snell to keep his hit streak alive on that swing, which would not have been his best swing of that streak, but just couldn't keep it fair.
Would have still looked the same, though, on our little scorebooks here. But as you mentioned, Zach, Cade trying to keep that going. Up to 10 games now is his hit streak. And he'll live to see one more offering here behind 0-2.
We'll see how long Peary stays in this contest. They're trying to give him some good reps here. They've got a Virginia Cavalier warming, though, Cullen McKay out in the bullpen.
Obviously not trying to use all that many arms, too, when you've got a lead like you do right now. Would rather keep McKay fresh for tomorrow, possibly. It's a really good take by Cade Snell. Fastball there on nearly ran there on the outer third. Thrown up into the night here in left center. Younger giving chase, and he lost the ball. That one's going to get down. Everyone's going to keep running. Luke Heyman churning around the bases. And that is a hit. Didn't look like it off the bat. And the hit streak moves to 11.
You know, I mentioned a minute ago about how he might keep the streak going on something that wouldn't have been his best swing in the streak. Well, That definitely wasn't his best swing of the streak, but he'll take it.
So it's a double because Snell was able to advance. It's a play you don't think about all that often, but again, wouldn't call that at all as this one's chopped here. Running in is Yannick. The throw just barely in time to Keelan. Yannick will score. RBI ground out there. The second run of this inning comes in. Snell's able to move on to third. And it's now an 8-run game.
You're just finding some positives going into tomorrow and seeing what you can pick out. Because you really don't want a game like this to take away any momentum you had and send you back to where you were playing before.
Humphreys down the left field line. It'll go out of play. An RBI double makes it a 7-run deficit here in the ninth.
I think that might do it for Peary.
You want to save your arms, but he's been hit around here just a little bit. And it appears that Colin McKay out of Virginia will come in here to try to close it out for the Kettleers. But if nothing else, you talk about that momentum. The Commodores trying to make some happen here. Still trailing by a big number, but 3 home here. We'll be right back. Colin McKay will come in now for the Kettleers in the midst of this little bit of a surge from the doors. But the Virginia Cavalier is the next man to go for the Kettleers.
Colin McKay, just 4 innings pitched so far on the summer, giving up a pair of runs, pair of walks, pair of strikeouts. Between his 4 different appearances, just has 2 outs to get today.
Heads up, Cotuit dugout. Gavin Turley came in to pinch run after Tab Tracy's leadoff walk in the bottom of the 8th. He remains in the ballgame. That's Christian Martin. He's now pinch running for Nate Humphreys. If you can keep up with all the changes in this ballgame in this later stage of it. Turley way out in front. I'll tell you, Zach, wouldn't be a bad time for Gavin Turley's first knock here on the summer. Falmouth 3 already home here in this inning. Still trailing by a large number, but you got to keep the line moving if you can.
And Turley's had much better at bats over the last few days. Worked a couple walks. He flew out basically to the wall yesterday, a ball that may have gone if not for Carter Matheson running it down. Just making a play. Excuse me, Gage Harrelson, not Carter Matheson.
Turley into the deep night into left. Couple of looks, and the play is made at the wall. You said it best, Zach. He's put on some good swings, and if that isn't the most, just a tough break there for Gavin Turley, at the very least, you think that's off the wall. That's a very loud and pretty deflating second out.
He just hit it so high. Ball came off his bat at 100 miles an hour, and it stayed up in the air for so long that it didn't have enough distance. Launch angle, almost 38 degrees on that swing, just straight up.
T.O. Banks up against the advertisements out there and left to make that play. Christian Martin was already headed to third. He thought it was getting down. And in an 0-1 count, this one up into the air. We saw trouble with the lights earlier. No trouble here by Norris. And that will end it. The Doors make it exciting at the end. But a pretty dominant effort by the Kettleers tonight, ending Falmouth's win streak. It's a 12-5 victory for Cotuit.
Not the game that Falmouth wanted tonight, but it's the game they got. And so they're going to have to deal with that going into tomorrow because you just got to continue to come out and play baseball. That's the beauty of summer ball. You're right back at it tomorrow.
Tough go here for the Commodores. You see the line there. Couple of mistakes by the Doors. First time in a long time. Falmouth playing A that way, but even B. The hits number, only 5 today. Very uncommon by a team that entering today's game, the very best in the Cape League in that category.
Just unable to get the bats going. Cotuit's pitching staff has been the best on the Cape all summer long, and they showed it today.
We will be back with you tomorrow evening. All that stuff starts at 3:30 for the Commodores' celebration of its centennial season. Tough effort today on the field, but it was still a full workload for all those names you see there. Everyone pulling the strings here to bring this one to you on the Commodores Baseball Network. For my partners, Destiny Sanchez down on the field. For Zach Serdenik here in the broadcasting booth, I've been Matt Venezia, saying so long and good night. We'll see you tomorrow here from the Gov when the Chatham A's come to Falmouth for the centennial celebration. We'll see you then.